Hello and welcome. Joining me on a bright, crisp morning. Well, it's not quite bright yet, but the sky is blue and it will be bright soon. Tis the season for overwintering videos. A lot of people are a lot more better and experienced than me. So I'm going to approach it from my own personal angle, which is rather than bring the plants into the heat, I'm going to bring the heat out to the plants. So what I've done, I touched on it last year, we did a bit of proof of concept. Yesterday I spent most of the day rigging it all up. It was a very tricky to do it all in situ, but yeah, we got there in the end. So you can see not too much devastation to the garden, not too much fleece wrapping or anything, or when I say not too much, no fleece wrapping or anything just yet. So yeah, the two main ones I want to protect are the big cyathea there on the left and the giant honeysuckle over on the right. The giant honeysuckle, very much, I don't know whether it's going to make it even no matter how much I tried. The cyathea, I'd like to think I might be able to keep that alive. That's what the thing this system's been designed in mind with. So let's go and have a look at what I've done. And then you can see just by that cyathea, I have got my little temperature sensor just hooked up on that bit of bamboo. We'll go and see the results of what's happened. So yeah, essentially the best way to think of it would be like an underfloor heating system where all the small pipes run around under the floor and then the sort of heat rises up because heat wants to rise. Same thing with that cyathea, there's a load of pipe around it that will keep the frost off the roots hopefully. And then a little bit, obviously it's an open air room, so all the heat's going to get lost as opposed to inside the house, but I would like to think at least the first foot or so will keep warm, and that will be enough hopefully to keep the cyatheas alive, because the crown will be warm, the fronds might get frosted off, but hopefully they'll survive. There's only one way we're going to find out, and that's in about 5 months time. But yeah, so if I just show you what I've done, let's go over to the giant honeysuckle first. So you may remember that when I put this camellia corner in, I'd had 2 pipes running out already, so I'd pre-done them, so I just connected them up. Let's go and see if we can see how I've done it, because I've put everything back now. I should have thought about this, sorry, but yeah, you can see there they are, connected them up, and if we go through there, you can just see I've connected them up, and you can just see the start of the coil there around the giant honeysuckle, the main sort of root of it. And then to go even more OTT, because that's what I like to do, is I've actually followed it up the post with that pipe running up underneath. That big one coming out the right hand side is just where it drops back down. I need to tie that in, but I've tried to keep it as close as I can to the underneath of that pipe. Maybe that'll do something, because yeah, I take it it'll be wherever it gets frosted to, it'll grow back from. So if I can keep the frost off half of that fence post, that'll be majorly over what I'm expecting. And then what else I've done is, we go over to have a look. I had 2 pipes which I ran underneath the patio through some drain pipe. I've connected them up over in that corner. You can just see these pipes. I will tidy them up. I'm just doing a proof of concept and making sure it all works with no leaks at the moment. So over here, as a bit of experimentation, we've got the 2 cyatheas which are pretty much the same size. That's this one here and that one there with the lime green leaf pointing out. They're pretty much exactly the same size. They're in the same area of the garden, and they're both sort of got ferns either side of them. So I've actually put a coil around this one here, as you can see down there. That one hasn't got a coil, and the idea of that is that it'll just give me a little bit more information basically. So for example, if we get to next year and they both survive, and you know, we've had a few frosts and whatnot, nothing crazy, but you know, if they both survive, then we know that the ferns just covering it is going to be okay. If this one on the left survives and that one on the right doesn't, then I'll know regardless of how many ferns I put around them, I'm going to need to put some heating in and around them. So yeah, we'll see how they go. The major one for now is this big cyathea. If I come back without falling over because it's slippy, you can see I've just coiled it up around the bottom of it. it looks messy, but I can hide all this quite easily after the fact, if you know what I mean. Just put some mulch, and I'll do some experimentation, because I'm thinking about I've got loads of rocks, so I'm thinking about putting some rocks on top of the coils, A, to hide them, B, to make it look kind of a bit more rocky, and C, rocks keep the heat, don't they? So it could be something where if the heating's on overnight and it warms up the rocks, then that keeps the heat in them through the day, and I don't have to run it all day. It's just running on the back end of my heating circuit, so the hot water goes through all the radiators and then it comes through here last. Ignore that, that's the cat scratching us. So let's have a look at some of the results. So this temperature sensor is inside the coil. You can see that is, might not, that's 8 degrees inside the coil, and this one, which is a foot away, is 2.4 degrees. So to me that looks like that's working really well. So my next thing is to maybe move that temperature sensor up a little bit, maybe another foot, see what the results are, and go from there. But hopefully that should work. And what I'll do, because I've got an old central heating system, i.e. not a combi, it's an old gravity system with tanks in the loft and whatnot, when I sort it all out properly, the way I'll probably run it is, instead of having the heating come on and the hot water come on for an hour in the morning and the hour in the evening, I'll probably just choose a sort of temperature and put it on constant, so that the heating just fires up every now and again through the night. It doesn't work out any different efficiency wise, as in what's it's going to cost me in pound notes, because if you think, I won't go too much into it because otherwise I'll start blabbering on, but if you think, you know, if you've got heating and you just put it, say, on 19 degrees, and it just every time it drops down half a degree, it just fires up for 5 minutes and then waits and then fires up for 5 minutes like that. That's no different to it dropping 3 degrees over the night and then you turning it on for an hour, and then the heating putting all those 5 minutes together and taking an hour to heat the place up to 19 degrees, if that sort of makes sense. So yeah, I can always play with it. We've got a smart meter, we can see the difference in the efficiency, and we'll go from there. So yeah, that looks like that worked. So I'll probably tidy it all up over the next few weeks. I mean, we've only got a couple of nights of freezing temperatures again, or close to that. So tonight I'll probably rig that thing, the temperature sensors, up over on the Lanissera coil, just to make sure that's doing its job, and then I might do it up the fence post and just check what sort of temperature differences we're getting there. And then probably when it gets mild next week, I will not take it apart, but I'll drain this the section of this all down, and insulate the pipe and tidy it all up like that bit we just seen behind me. So yeah, that looks like it's doing well. I'm really happy with that, actually. And last year we did prove this when it was about -4. I rigged one up roughly, and inside the coil was about 4 degrees and outside the coil was about -4, so a swing of 8. But what I didn't get a chance to practice or test is that if that's sort of relative, so i.e. is it always just going to keep it 8 degrees more than the outside temperature? So how's the best way to explain this? So let's just say it's -5 outside of the coil and 5 inside of the coil, i.e. a 10-degree swing. If it's -20 outside of the coil, will it keep it still at 5 degrees in the coil, or will it make it -10, if you see what I mean? Is it relative, or will it always keep it at 5 degrees? But that's something for me to play with. So yeah, with regards to the 2 main plants, that's my overwintering done. Really all I'm going to do is shove a load of straw in the Dixonia, the small Dixonia, and what I'll do, because all you can just see, it's these big trees are starting to drop their leaves, so I'm going to make some leaf mold and whatnot, but with all the excess leaves, because there'll be loads of them, I'm going to give it all a thick mulch, and things like the Lophosauria, the Canna, if I don't get it up, the Tetrapanax and things like that. I'm going to do that. And with the I was half tempted to run it out to the Tetrapanax, but I think it's not really worth it, because this, if it gets through this year, it's going to be too high to, you know, for the heat to rise up to, if you sort of see what I mean. But anyway, yeah, that's good. I'm happy. It's actually pretty cold. I'm going to go back inside and grab myself a nice cup of coffee. Anyway, hope you're having a good weekend. See you next time.